Hello, hello, it's Dr. Pam here, and welcome to Wellness Wednesday. Today, I'm going to be talking about childhood obesity, and I'm going to tell you three easy steps you can take to eliminate obesity in your child or a child that you care about, or to avoid obesity in your child or a child that you care about. So I am Dr. Pam Middleton, your virtual holistic pediatrician. Through my books, programs, and services, I help families achieve and maintain health and wellness through inside-out healing. So let's go on and get started. I know that some people will watch this on the replay. That's great. But I'm going to make this really easy because you guys have heard me talk about, I talk about nutrition a lot. And childhood obesity is a major problem in the United States. And it is something that I am very passionate about because as a pediatrician, I am seeing more and more obese children. And, the obesity that I'm seeing in children is leading to medical problems in these children. I am starting to see medical problems in children that previously were only seen in grown folks. Okay. So I just really want to address this. And, it's something that sometimes people tiptoe around it. I'll just be honest about that. People tiptoe around the obesity issue. People will look at children and say, "Oh, well, they just have big bones, or everybody in my family is big," or no, this is not acceptable. Because I'm gonna challenge you to do something, and it may be a little bit uncomfortable, but if you know someone, you can, if you have a friend who is now obese, find out if they were obese as a child, okay? Because people who were obese as children, they have a lot of issues. They had issues growing up, and if you are obese as a child, the likelihood of you being able to shed that weight really is low. The earlier you are when you develop obesity, the harder it is to shed that weight, okay? So what I'm going to talk to you about today is just these are like three simple steps. It's going to seem really common sense when I say it, but it's stuff that people sometimes don't think about. So step number one to eliminate obesity or to avoid obesity is to eat real foods. Okay, you guys have heard me talk about real foods before. What's real foods? Real foods are foods that are not processed. They are foods that when you walk into the grocery store, it's generally around the periphery of the grocery store. So it would be your fruits, your veggies, your meats. Okay, that is real food. Now, you can also have, some nuts, some whole grains, but you want to avoid the foods that are in the middle of the store that you got to walk up and down the aisles to get. They're all processed in some way. Okay, so most of your food should be non-processed that you get from the periphery, but of course you're going to have some stuff in the middle. And when you're talking about children, I'm not telling you to never give your child, sweets or anything like that, but they really should not be the majority of their diet. Because some of the kids just have ridiculous diets. I have literally had conversations recently with teenagers who they don't eat vegetables. They really don't eat vegetables at all. I'm like, what do you eat? Oh, pizza, hot dogs, hamburgers. Like, okay, can you tell me how many vegetables you had yesterday? I didn't have any. So this is really not acceptable. this starts when they are children. If you teach your children that vegetables are fun, then they're going to eat them. But you have to eat the vegetables too. I think I've told you this before. You can't expect your children to do things that you don't want to do. Okay, so remember, just, real foods. You want them to eat real foods most of the time. And of course, talk about doing things in moderation. So they're, of course, going to have some treats. Hey, Mary, how are you? But real foods is the number one key. Okay, number two is eliminate the sweet, sugary drinks that are, they're basically empty calories, because, everything that you eat is going to have calories. And I'm not telling you that you got to sit here and like count all the calories that you're giving your child. But when your child is having a lot of sweet, sugary foods, that's going to be extra calories that are just empty calories. There's like no nutritional value with most of those calories. So, and you have to be careful even with juices, with fruit juices. Like 100% apple juice is extremely sweet. So you don't want your child to drink like 16 ounces of apple juice in a day. That's just way too much. Juices should be no more than like 4 to 6 ounces a day. So 4 to 6 ounces of juice a day. And if you have an obese child, you might not want to give them any juice. You might want to just do water, because that juice is really sweet, and you're setting their taste buds up for wanting things that are really sweet. And that's why you have to be careful with babies. You don't want to give your baby just straight fruit juice. A lot of people will add water to the juice so that it's not as sweet. So be careful with these sweet, sugary drinks. There are kids who never drink water. They will say, well, I had water because I had tea. So the tea had water in it. But, it was the sweet tea that's like really syrup. Okay, like they had syrup. So you want to be careful with that. And then, of course, I don't even have to talk about sodas. That's just another one that's empty calories. However, what I will say about sodas is, if your child's going to drink soda, have them drink regular soda, not diet soda. So that means, they might have a treat. They may have a soda ever so often. They probably shouldn't be drinking a soda every day. Well, actually, they should not be drinking a soda every day. Let me just rephrase that. Not that they probably should not be. They definitely should not be drinking a soda every day. Soda should be a treat. All these sweet things should be treats, especially if you have an obese child. And and parents, grandparents, aunties, when the child is obese. Okay, now the third thing is movement. Okay, you want your child to move. Way back in the day, we used to move. We used to play. We would come home from school and we would change into our play clothes and we went outside and played. Now, kids are like looking, they're video games and looking at TV. Well, now they actually have their, they have their own phones and tablets. So that's what they're doing. Now, I do understand, because I've worked in some inner city areas that were not safe. It wasn't safe for you to just send your child outside after school to play. So I understand that you may not live in a safe neighborhood, but you can still find ways for your child to get physical activity. They can be involved in sports. So if they're involved in team sports, it's very good, because they got to go to practice. And it doesn't seem like exercise to them. It's fun. They're on the team. They're practicing. They want to impress the coach or whatever. So, team sports is good. If you're somewhere where your child really is not doing any team sports and it's really unsafe to be out in your neighborhood, then take them to the mall to walk. Walking is good. I said move. I didn't say that, you've got to go and do aerobic exercise for an hour. Just move. Walking and, maybe walking briskly for the kids. But kids like to play. You can even take them to the mall, and they have like the little play areas in the mall a lot of times. So you can do that. They can go in there and play, you know, depending on what their age is. As they get older, have them go walking with you, or like I said, get them involved in some type of sports, or you know, another activity like karate or something like that, some type of physical activity. Okay, so I'm going to reiterate to make it really simple, because you guys have heard me go into more details about a lot of the things that I just talked about, but just making it real simple. The 3 things you want to do, you know, to eliminate or avoid obesity. Number 1, feed your child, or that child that you care about, real foods. And I've, you know, I think Mary's on here. Mary's a grandma, so I know how grandmas are, you know, and grandmas want to sometimes spoil the kids, and that's fine, but don't try to spoil them with, you know, fatty foods, especially if they are already obese and their parents have told you that they don't want them to eat that, you know, because it sends a mixed message. So you really always want to be in line with the parents' wishes. Now you can talk to the parents and say, well, you know, I just want to give them this little treat, and maybe between you and the parents you can figure out a fun treat that you can give, and maybe that will be the thing. Maybe coming to your house will be when that child gets certain treats, but it's not going to be all the time, you know, whenever they want something, whatever they want, they get to have it. Okay, so real food, remember, that's the food that's on the periphery of the grocery store, or as I have heard before, it's the food that your great grandmother would recognize as food. Okay, now number 2, you want to avoid the sweet sugary drinks. You don't want your child to get a lot of empty calories from liquids. Okay, and number 3, you want to make sure that your child is moving, you know, whatever that means, you know, playing sports, being in the band, just going walking, just moving around. If they're young kids and they just want to go outside and play, you know, have them play, take them to the playground or somewhere that's safe. If your neighborhood isn't traditionally safe, you know, let them do the old-fashioned things, you know, get on their bikes or their skateboards or whatever. And as a pediatrician, I must remind you, always want to make sure that they're safe. So if they're riding bikes or skateboards or scooters, they need to wear their helmets. Okay, and if they're playing sports, they need to wear the safety equipment for the sport that they're playing. So these are the 3 things to eliminate or avoid childhood obesity. And if you have any particular questions about it, you know, feel free to. I usually discuss things in my Facebook group, but I'm actually going to be starting to do more things on YouTube also. So I am going to put a link to my YouTube page so that you can go to my YouTube page and subscribe there and follow me there, so you can keep abreast of what's going on. So yes, go to my YouTube page and follow me, and you will see a lot of these videos will be up on YouTube. And for those of you who have never seen the jars revealed, where I did the experiment with a McDonald's Happy Meal and we kind of saw what it would do over time, make sure that you go to my YouTube page to subscribe. So I will add the link later this evening. I will add the link to this post for my YouTube page. Okay, so with that, I'm going to bid you guys farewell. Enjoy the rest of your Wellness Wednesday. I am Dr. Pam Middleton, your virtual holistic pediatrician. Through my books, programs, and services, I help families achieve and maintain health and wellness through inside-out healing. Bye-bye.